Okay, I want to try and go through some of this symbolism, you know, to do with time travel and Back to the Future and all of that. You know, there's a lot of things going on there. It's not that I'm obsessed with the movie or anything like that, you know. It is a good movie, don't get me wrong. It's just that we're drawn to these things. Things booting up. We're just drawn to these things. You know, like I said in the last video, you know, the signs and things to do with making my album time travel, and now doing a little bit more research and things like that. And I'm just going to talk about what happened this morning as I was doing the school run, dropping my son off at his school, and on the way back I decided to pass by the Apollo, where the Apollo is, and just as I'm pulling up to the circle, the roundabout, or the circle as some people call it, what do you think drove past me? But the same flipping DeLorean out of Back to the Future. I mean, I thought I was in some parallel universe. I mean, today is the 21st. Yeah, Wednesday, the 21st of October, 2015, which is the exact date that they travelled back to the future, into the future in the second film. I know that sounds confusing. But yeah, they came from their time in 1984 to the future, and I'm driving past and there's the Back to the Future car. I mean, how bizarre is that? And the time, check the time. Yeah, 9:11 in the morning, 11 minutes past 9 precisely. I mean, for those of you that have watched the videos out there that's on my channel and other channels, you know, that discuss these various symbolisms, where you see the tire place and the 9 with the arrow pointing to it, and then as the car goes into the future, it produces the fire, the 2 tracks, which can be looked at as an 11. And then you've got, from the same first movie, the time at the Twin Pines Mall being 9/11. If you look at it from upside down, because it's actually 1:16. It was 1:15, turns to 1:16 as he arrives. But if you look at it from upside down, it's 9/11. The Twin Pines have been, according to some people, symbolized as the Twin Towers, which, if you go to the second movie, is reaffirmed with the projector scene moment, where there's a scene of a garden projected on Marty's wall of 2 pine trees, and then later on that image is changed to 2 towers, which then proceed to scroll down the screen, as it were, or appear to collapse, you know, again reinforcing the idea of 9/11. Well, anyway, I just wanted to touch on a few points there. There's another video I posted up which talks about the relationship between Doc Brown representing Zeus and Marty McFly representing Pluto. So driving past the Apollo today seems like there's not much coincidence in that. I could have chose any route, to be honest, but I happened to choose that route. Drove past the Apollo, which is a Greek god, you know, the god of music, believe it or not. So anyway, I got to thinking, you know, these things seem to be related. And again, my album, Time Travel, which is music, you know, released. Let's say I'm the god of music. Nowhere near. But looking at the film, because the film's got some very important music in there as well. And music is, again, just a way of conveying a message. So looking at the title music, done by Huey Lewis and the News. Well, the News is quite an odd name for a band. Huey Lewis and the News? It's a bit of an odd name. But, you know, what's the news he's talking about? But I just thought, you know, on the way back driving here, the good news at the end of the day. And what is the good news? Well, it's love, isn't it? Love is the answer at the end of the day. What was the title track? You know, Huey Lewis and the News. Yeah, title track of Back to the Future. Well, for those of you that don't know, it's called The Power of Love. Okay, so The Power of Love is one of the title tracks. Yeah, This message is, if you will, that's also within the film, seems to permeate throughout the ages, and now seems to be a very relevant message for our time right now, because people are wondering all sorts of things with all that goes on in the world these days, and they want to know what the answer could be. Well, the answer's staring you right in the face, isn't it? It's quite obvious. It's the power of love. That's the good news that Huey Lewis and the news are giving you. The power of love, which, you know, heals things. All that you think can't be fixed can be fixed. So, you know, we need to kind of go back in time, as it were, to a more simpler time. For those that remember, it's our generation, that 80s generation, that remember all these things before the chemtrails, yeah, and before all the political correctness, and before all the rules and rules and rules, till, you know, rules are coming at your eyeballs, yeah, till you can't live and be human anymore, and the double speak, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu today going on, it's the Palestinians that are responsible for the Jewish Holocaust. I mean, have you ever heard such double talk? I mean, says the man who commits no violence then, or doesn't instigate any violence of his own. It's like, just shut up, all of you. You know, the problem as I see it is that people have invested into the wrong things. Where these people, these elites, are investing in physical monetary riches, yeah? What they lack is the true spiritual riches, yeah, and intellectual riches. And this is why they cannot win the debates, and they're basically spiritually, morally and intellectually bankrupt, yeah. And when you're spiritually, morally and intellectually bankrupt, if you try to go to someone else to say, well, here, I think this is the answer, and they just turn around and say to you, well, hold on, 5 minutes ago you was bombing us, so how can you tell us what the answer is? You're in that no-go zone. We don't want to talk to you. You're not our friend. Yeah? Just because it's called a country, yeah, it makes no difference. Because at the end of all these chains of command and everything, there's a human being. And the thought process will remain the same. The thought process is it love or is it evil? So you want to fix all the problems, you got to start judging, measuring and viewing everything with love, because that is the power that it has. And these people that want to do all the evils, they know their time is short. That's what's the real message. That's the real good news. So I give thanks to Huey Lewis, yeah, because he was on the ball. He's kind of a, you know, giving a bit of prophecy there. I suppose he didn't really know it. Yeah, the good news. Gotta get back in time. Gotta get back in time. Yeah, go back. Go back. Those that can go back, that have the history and know how it was. Yeah, let's bring that love, that feeling back. Yeah, because things have gone too dark. Things have gone way too dark. Yeah, the accessibility to certain things that make the human psyche dark need to be limited, I think. Limited. Okay? It's an adult's job to know the difference, to teach their children right from wrong and not make everything available to them. Yeah? But at the same time, there's too many adults behaving like babies, isn't there? In this world. Too many carrying on like big babies. And therefore, on the one hand, everybody wants to be free. On the other hand, you got big babies who make you, the true adult, look bad. Because on aggregate, on the majority of people that's out there with their immature, benign behaviour, you know, they're bordering on narcissistic behaviour, you know, the self-obsession. I mean, what does a woman think she's doing when she's posting on Facebook everything? Naked self. What's she really doing there? Does she think that men respect that? What men? Boys, maybe, but which men respect that? You know? You know, the human race needs to have a good look at itself, a review or a respect, as Mark Passio puts it, to look again We need to all look at ourselves and see what part we're playing in all of this, okay? And recognize that the power that comes from the message of hope and good news is love. So let's use this power of love to change things in our reality, because we are the ones who've got to do it, you know. Don't expect the changes come from those people who are not giving you the changes, because it'd be their idea from the start. You know whose idea it is. You know whose mission it is. So what I'm looking for is the real leaders to start coming out. And our leader is someone who does what needs to be done. Not someone who's telling people what to do, but someone who knows how to do it, who cares enough to study and research how to do it properly, and then goes and does it. Okay? And we're talking the kind of things that are beneficial to society. So when you get upset about the corporations, look at it from this point of view. Who is doing what needs to be done? Because everyone says they can live in a world without a government, but straight away I'm going to say, yeah, I've got a problem. How are you going to get fish? How are you going to eat some fish? Hey, do you have a boat? Do you know good fish from bad fish? Etc, etc. We've discussed this before. Okay? There's going to have to be some organising done, unless you're the only human being on the planet, in which case, good luck getting that fish. Yeah? Because if you drown, who's going to come look for you? People need to get a balanced view. This is the problem, right? In the beginning, yes, awakening, it's great. You awaken, but then you have to get balanced again. Yeah? It's no point just waking up and then you're in a bad mood, and all for the rest of the day you're in a bad mood. How is that productive? How is that beneficial to you? How does that help you? Your health, your friendships, you know, all these relationships that we have to have in the world, whether it's a relationship with your boss or a relationship with your wife or your kids or any of your other peers or society, you know. Get right with yourself. That's what it's really about. Get right with God. Yeah. Go back to when you was a child, you know. Think of these things. Think of the things that you aspired to be. Yeah. And never mind what, oh, the problem is this. Oh, because I'm so old. Forget all of that. What's it going to take to do it? And then do it. Yeah. See me? I'm not using any age as an excuse. I'm doing it. People might look at me and say, oh, well, it's easier for you because. No, it isn't. It's as hard for me as anybody else. In fact, it's hard for people like us because we don't have access to the resources and certain types of people who will just come along and help you. Yeah? At the end of the day, people want solutions just to be given them on a plate, and it doesn't work like that. Get real, yeah? And recognise the truth for what it is when you hear it. You're the one who's got to lead this thing. All of us have got to be a leader in our own right. You know, lead ourselves then. If no one wants to follow, lead yourself. Yeah? Because the idea of a leader, you know, is a notion that people think that they know what it's all about. But really, in reality, people just like positive things. They like to be around positive people, people that will inspire them, people that give them ideas, people that help them. So if you're one of them kind of people, then people will naturally be drawn to you. You don't need to ask them for their allegiance. Yeah? Just get your allegiances right. And your allegiance should be with the Most High. What is the Most High? What is the highest ethic and moral that you know then? And set that as your standard. For me, it's love. Okay? That's the Most High. And that's where God dwells. And that's why God dwells in your heart. And that's why a lot of the times these answers, they're instantaneous. It's the heart-mind. Once you get your heart-mind aligned, then the body is much more likely to get aligned with the heart-mind. Don't think of it as my mind, which betrays my heart. Those two must be aligned. And therefore, the only way you can get the satisfaction, the only way that you can fulfill the destiny for which you were created is to get your heart-mind aligned. Yeah, and that can only be done through the message. And what is the good news from Huey? It's the power of love. So, if you want to do it through the power of love. By the way, a shout out going out to Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, because they played a wonderful part, and Crispin Glover, I believe it is, and all the rest of the cast and crew, because, you know, they don't realise what a phenomenon they made as a piece of entertainment. But also another kind of hidden message here, and this is about fathers now, fathers and sons, that relationship, and how the son can redeem the father, yeah, like Jesus Christ can redeem God the Father, yeah, because before mercy and grace existed was the law, and by the law everyone's failed, so we all deserve eternal damnation, eternal death, Hades, Pluto. Okay, so give thanks for the man that went to Pluto, Hades, conquered death, as it were, shown his father, as it were, in the past, retrospectively, how to be a better man, how to follow more of his dreams and his desires, which is something that only this generation has been able to do, because progressively things were different for that age and that time, and that's why we got to accept that they couldn't change it at their time, because they weren't ready. They didn't have what we have today. It's only for that generation that's seeking. You've got the internet, you know, that's exposed everybody to a vast array of information. Now they can start to pick and choose things for themselves, whereas before you had to go through the book and you had to know exactly where it was in the book. You understand? So, you know, another reason why Michael J. Fox is such a hero is he has come out publicly, you know, he has Parkinson's disease, I believe, but he's still out in public. He's not ashamed or hiding any aspect of what he's doing, and actually he's still as sharp as ever, as it were, you know, an intellectual, as it were. He knows certain things. He's probably not letting on. But just the fact that for people suffering with, you know, an illness or a disease, he can give them hope. I mean, it's like he's fulfilled all these different roles without actually recognising. And what was he in before that? Family Ties. Family Ties. Yeah, he goes back to save his dad, and in this time he's showing people, actually, your dad is the one that needs to go back and look at his life in the 80s to bring out some of those answers that was then to the people of now. And what is that? The power of love. And what is that? The message within the message. Okay, so, you know, again, everything brings out more. You know, iron sharpens iron, as it were. Every idea can be added upon and built upon and make a greater idea. And that's how I see it. I hope you can start to see things for yourself a little bit deeper, a little bit more clearly, and in a way that is beneficial to your life. You know, things that you want to manifest, the positive things, manifest them, you know, because we need answers and solutions. If someone says, oh, well, there's no water to drink, going to war should surely be like the last answer. Going to war should be to defend yourself because somebody's at war with you. What you need to be doing is building a well. What you need to be doing is gathering the resources to collect the rainwater, and so on and so on, because that's what solution thinking is about. It's not about we're in the problem, so let's mire about the problem. Let's talk about the problem and how big it is a problem and how many times, oh, look at him, he's doing the problem. So what? And that's the thing, you empower too many of these world leaders. They're actively on Facebook like the rest of you, and they want likes and shares like the rest of you, because they also realize the power of Facebook and these social medias in getting out what the message. What is the message? The idea. What is the idea? What's the big idea that we should all be sharing? It's the good news. It's the power of love. And anyone who doesn't fit into that category, straight away, it's over, isn't it? Because they'll be spiritually and morally bankrupt, and they'll have no say. They couldn't even come and sit at the table. Everyone would just look at them and have to keep their mouth quiet because, you know, we're allowing you to sit at the table. But you don't have any currency with which to add a good example if you're not following the message of love. So, you know, the light will shine in many different ways, and I hope you can let your light shine just as bright, you know, by finding that power of love, you know, overcoming any adversity, any illness, you know, like Michael J. Fox, yeah, realise that the Trinity, the mind, body and soul, the flux capacitor, it's right there in front of your face, being repeated over and over and over. And some of you might think, these people are the enemy. But why are they telling you all of this? And who allows all this information to be out there? And why haven't they stopped it? And why are you still alive then, if that's the case? Are we all here learning? Sometimes I see the world leaders repeat exactly what we've said, because they're learning too. Nobody thought that. Everybody thought they're aliens and the shapeshifters, and, you know, taking things a bit too literal, instead of realizing these are metaphors. Yeah, if you look at it like it's a metaphor, like a story being told, you'll learn the parable, the meaning, the secret meaning. What's the moral of the tale? The moral of the tale is love is the answer. The moral of the tale is there's power in love. The moral of the tale is the son can save the father and the father can save the son. The moral of the tale is family. So, with that said, all that's been revealed, plus all the other stuff that's been revealed, let's try and do something with this knowledge. Let's try and turn it into some wisdom. And wisdom is something that we can actually use to benefit humanity. It's a particular type of knowledge that makes it better for us. So it gives us a better living, it gives us a better understanding, it makes us healthier, it makes us stronger. That's what wisdom is. So if you're wise, do that with the power of love.
It's the 25th anniversary of Back to the Future Part 2. What a day in movie history. Not only has it been 25 years since we've seen one of the best films in the entire trilogy, but it's also been 25 years since we've seen some of the hottest gadgets we expect to use next year. Power lacing shoes, hoverboards, food hydrators, you name it, we all want this stuff. But to some people's knowledge, some gadgets shown in this movie actually exist now. And here's what Doc Brown has to say about that. We're not talking about the big, bulky equipment that we all remember the most, but all the minor gadgets that made a few brief appearances in the movie. So put down that sleep-inducing alpha rhythm generator and that copy of Jaws 19, because right now, it's 11 things Back to the Future Part 2 gave us before 2015. Let's start the count. Number 1. Video communication. During the scene in the future McFly residence, Needles and Old Marty talk face-to-face on a video-style phone application. Recently, services like Apple FaceTime and Skype have taken advantage of this technology. But if we could get on-screen text for the person's favorite sports, drinks, hobbies, address, wives, food dislikes, and other miscellaneous information, we'd be one step ahead. Number 2. Biometric security. When the Hill Valley police officers returned the 1985 Jennifer to her 2015 home, they used her thumbprint to access a door-lock thumbpad. The thumbpad was also seen on the currency device when Old Biff exits the taxi, and the Wild Gunman machine used thumbprint currency instead of being on free play in early drafts of the script. Biometric doorknobs are currently on the market, and they work just like they do in the film. If only AT&T can market them. Number 3. Flat screen TVs and multi-channel viewing. When Marty Jr. returns to the McFly residence, he watches 6 channels at once on a wall-mounted flat screen television. Since the mid-1960s, small flat TV screens were invented, but it wasn't until around 2005 when LCD and plasma flat screens replaced the traditional cathode ray tube TVs. And yes, these can be mounted on walls. And about the multi-channel bit, in 2009, DirecTV created GameX for the NCAA basketball season, which allowed people to watch up to 4 channels at once until the tournament was over. Ironically, DirecTV hired Christopher Lloyd for the role of Doc Brown that same year to recreate the scene after Marty goes back to the future in Part 1 to advertise their service. That same year, again, Cablevision launched QuickView, which allows people to watch up to 9 channels at once. Number 4. Flexible screens. In the future McFly residence, there's a projector-like screen that can be pulled down over a window like a blind or curtain and can show images just in the style of an ordinary TV. In the early 2010s, Sony created an OLED, or organic light-emitting diode, display that was flexible and virtually indestructible from falls or crushing. Eventually, Samsung got the idea for AMOLED displays, either flexible or transparent. And unlike Sony, they have plans to put them on the market. But if they can make one that was projector-sized, all we need now is a scenery channel. Number 5. Video glasses. At the dinner scene with the future McFly family, Marty Jr. and Marlene, the daughter, are submersed in electronic video glasses, which also include the capability to make and receive phone calls. To Marty Jr., the glasses aren't like the multi-channel TV, as he can only watch 2 channels at once.
Here. Put your damn glasses on, huh? Dad, I can only watch 2 shows at once on these things.
So how could this become real? 2 words. Google Glass. Number 6. Tablet computers. After Marty attempts to return the hoverboard to the little girl, an old Terry, played by Charles Fleischer, walks up to him and asks him to pay via thumbprint to help save the clock tower. What's interesting is that the thumb pad on what looks like a tablet computer is also the one on the currency device that the taxi driver uses. Once again, Apple got the jump on this with the iPad, a giant version of their iPod Touch. Number 7. Sequel 3D remake movie obsession. When Marty's walking around the 2015 Hill Valley Courthouse Square, he sees a Holomax movie theater playing Jaws 19. This statement has been proven true for years and today. I mean, look at these movies. Amazing Spider-Man 2, Godzilla, Star Wars Episode 7, The Final Destination. Hollywood practically lives off sequels and remakes. Spielberg practically predicted the future truly here. But if we could get 15 more Jaws movies and holographic movie technology, it might not be half bad.
Shark still looks fake.
Number 8. Hands-free gaming. At the Cafe 80s, Marty shows the little kids how the Wild Gunman arcade machine worked. But they criticize him because of the use of a handheld gun.
You have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
However, they never mention what kind of futuristic video games they played. And many companies attempted this once the movie came out. For example, there's Broderbund with their U-Force, Sega with their Activator, and most well known, Microsoft and their Xbox Kinect. But according to this movie, their gaming technology might be more advanced than ours. Number 9. Slam Ball. If you look close in the newspaper for the USA Today story about Griff and his gang getting arrested, there's a couple of headlines for an unknown sport called Slam Ball. In the early script, it's a ball sport played on an anti-gravity magnetic field, which was supposed to be the original use for the Nike mags. The sport's even listed on the back of the Gray's Sports Almanac. But in 2002, this concept and its name would be taken into reality. In real life, Slam Ball would become what it looked like if you combined Sky Zone with basketball. So, in other words, it's basically basketball with trampolines. Enough said. Number 10. A Miami baseball team. The holographic sportscast Old Terry Shows Marty features the Cubs winning the World Series against an unnamed Miami team. No team such existed in 1985 or 1989, but in 1993, the Florida Marlins was founded in Miami and eventually changed their name to Miami Marlins in 2011. The false prediction about this, though, is that their mascot is not an alligator. Number 11. Smart clothing. You can keep your bulky, auto-adjusting and auto-drying jacket, but these clothes seem to rank higher and more well-designed than it. There's a hooded sweatshirt that changes colors to express your mood, a real-life invisibility cloak, a shirt that never gets stained, a vest that will simulate video game injuries, shoes that communicate with iOS devices, and an Intel shirt that detects vital signs. It seems companies will use any article of clothing to use as a futuristic way of life. Well, that's the list. Be sure to like this video, favorite it, and subscribe to the channel. And you can also add this to your playlist and share it with your friends. And next time, be sure to watch the birdie.